So hello, Gavin.
You got the name okay there.
Just the name. So I restrained to Gavin.
Hello.
So
Hi, hello France. Bonjour. Salut.
so for those of you who don't know you yet, could you quickly introduce yourself to start?
Yeah, I'm Gav. I make songs under the name Miracle of Sound. And a lot of those songs are popular because they're inspired by video game culture or movies or stuff like that.
Okay, and you made a lot of songs about the Mass Effect series. So how did you
Yeah.
discover the Mass Effect series exactly?
I discovered Mass Effect when I was very, very poor, and a friend of mine was working in a video game shop. And I went in and I was asking her in the secondhand games, what's a good one that's out at the moment? And she recommended it to me, and she knew I was poor, so she let me have the game for half price.
That's nice.
Yeah, so
That's
thanks
nice
for
of
that.
her.
Thank you, Janice, for that. And that's how I discovered it. And I took it home and was immediately in love with everything about the game. I think we all look back now on Mass Effect 1. It was a little bit flawed mechanically, I think, that game.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever had a universe in a game just instantly grab me immediately the way that game did. Even from those first scenes in the ship with Shepard and
Walking
Anderson.
towards the cockpit, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And just talking about the different species and where humanity fit in that universe, it was so fascinating to me and
Yeah,
interesting.
Mass Effect was quite a slap in the face for every one of us, I think. Even if it's hard to
Absolutely.
play it now that it's 2017 and that the gameplay is old, back in the
Exactly.
days that was wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's hard to appreciate it now because it's been done so many times now. But
Yeah,
I
also.
remember there were so many moments in that game, like when you become a Spectre, or
So many good memories.
the final battle against Sovereign. I jumped out of my chair and cheered. And I was like, I've never done this to a video game before. Never. I've never jumped out of my chair and gone, yes, come on. At a video
Bring
game. It
it
was a
down.
crazy experience. And then Mass Effect 2, that feeling was even more crazy in the end of that. And we won't talk about the end of 3.
Yeah, that was somewhat disappointing, I
There's
guess. Some
there's a
people
line
like it.
there's a line
Some
in
don't.
the latest Mass Effect song I did called the line goes something like leaving behind our broken hearts, and
Mhm.
it's definitely got a double meaning, that line.
Okay, so the whole interview was started because I wish to discuss with you about Mass Effect Andromeda.
Yeah.
So, without going into details yet, what's your general feeling about the game?
I liked it. I think I liked it more than a lot of fans liked it. It certainly, for me, it didn't reach the heights for me, the emotional heights that I would have got from Mass Effect 1 and 2, and even
Mhm.
parts of 3. I feel if they make the next game a little more tight and a little bit smaller, with less stuff but more focused, interesting stuff, because
Mhm.
all of the team missions were great in this one, like they always
Yeah.
have been. I could have done without like 80% of the open world stuff. I wasn't so interested in like hunting down 5 things to scan or collecting rocks or anything like
Yeah,
that.
collecting plants and stuff.
So yeah, I think it all of that stuff, if they just throw that shit out the window and go back to the way it was in Mass Effect 2 with a smaller game but a much more focused game, I think they could really have a winner. Because I think there's a lot of potential there, and
Mhm.
I liked Ryder as a character. I really liked the idea behind the game of moving forward and exploring. I really got a sense of adventure and hope from it, and I like
Mhm.
that.
What do you think of open worlds in general?
Open worlds. It's a loaded term these days, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
it's
starting to
like a
mean,
buzzword.
yeah, it's changed meaning. It used to mean an amazing place to explore and find things, and nowadays it kind of means it has a lot of filler.
Yeah.
So to me, it means different things with each game. I mean, like recently I played Horizon Zero Dawn and I absolutely loved it. And I
Mhm.
wanted to do all of the side missions in that game, you know. Maybe not collecting all the flowers and stuff. I didn't finish that, but all of the side missions were interesting. Same with The Witcher 3.
Of
It gave you
course.
reasons to travel its world, you know.
Yeah.
So open world to me, it's not a dirty word. I mean, some of my favorite games, all house games I love. I think open world when they have the resources and the time to do it properly can be amazing. But for the way BioWare structure games, I personally prefer when they do a slightly more narrow game.
Yeah. It's kind of dangerous, I guess, to
Yeah,
do open worlds now.
yeah. I think last in the last generation, corridors and cover shooting became the dirty words.
Yeah.
So everyone wanted to make open worlds, but you know,
And now
now it's
we're
the other
kind
way
of paying
around.
the price. Yeah.
Yeah. Healthy balance, that's the key. I mean, a company like From Software, I think, does this balance perfectly. If you look at a game like Bloodborne, which is kind of an open world, but also very structured, there's no empty space in that game, you know?
Yeah. Okay. So we know that story is an important part for you in games. What did you
Absolutely.
think of Andromeda's story?
Like I said, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the sense of wonder and the sense of exploration and hope that
Hmm.
the game put across. I felt the writing was up and down.
Yeah,
there were some parts of the
absolutely.
story that were fantastic, and there were other parts where I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Yeah, I
For
hear
me,
that.
it was like characters like Liam can just. I wanted to shoot him out the airlock. I remember him saying something like, "I think I really pissed that alien off. I think it's because I shot him in the face." And when he said that, I actually I physically face palmed. I was like, this cannot be a BioWare game with a line like that. But
Yeah,
the overall story was cool. I liked, like I said, I liked Ryder and I liked her story and I liked the way it finished. It was a good ending. So
okay. So, about the Great Unknown, the song you wrote recently for Mass Effect Andromeda, can
yeah,
you tell us a bit about how you wrote it? Any major inspiration or something else to mention?
yeah, absolutely. Well, when I write songs, the main thing for me is to just capture a certain feeling,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a different thing every time. Like sometimes uh, with say my Doom song, it was to capture the attitude, but with this song, it was to capture a feeling of hope and some little part of nostalgia as well,
Mm-hmm.
um, and just the idea of moving home, going somewhere new, and the kind of bittersweet feelings that gives you, and we've most of us have experienced that in our lives, moving somewhere new and being excited about it and you know finding new things, but also being a little sad for all the stuff we're leaving behind, and that's what I wanted to create with that song.
And I guess you managed perfectly.
I hope so. It
Well,
was musically there are motifs in the song from
mhm,
a couple of my older Mass Effect songs, particularly in the mid section, which has a piano riff from one of my old songs, Crucible, and that was
yeah,
my way of like
an
pointing
instrumental.
out we're saying goodbye now. We're moving on from that, you know. So
Hmm.
we're going to appreciate it, but we're going to move on from it.
I think a lot of people, whether they like your songs or not, are
Mm,
really impressed that each time you write a song, it it feels like it could have been in the original soundtrack of the game, and no
yeah,
one would ever notice.
yeah,
Like Clockworks really feels like Dishonored, the Natural Heart really feels like something that says Deus Ex and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I lost my questions. Here we go.
Well, that's honestly the reason I can do that is honestly just a lot of practice with songwriting and moods, but also a lot of practice with production technique, and instruments and programming and mixing and stuff like that. Because the song is just the song; it's the chords and it's the melody and the words. But that to create that feeling of something that's similar to what's in the game, that's just. I've been able to do that through learning how to produce music, and if I want a certain synth to sound a certain way or a guitar to sound a certain way and create that mood similar to the game, it's all very nerdy and I would bore you terribly if I explained how I do it.
Do you think there's a particular song where you really started to manage to produce the feeling you were talking about?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. Let me just look at what songs I have. I mean, like everyone knows Commander Shepard as the song that was the first one that really, yeah, that was the first song I had that was very popular. Oh gosh, I don't know what the first song for me that really I think captured. I think my BioShock song "Dream of the Sky" was one that a lot of people said this is one that really captures the mood. But I don't know. I mean, what do you think? It's hard to be objective about your own work in that way, And my style has changed so much since it started. Anyway, it's
of course. And
there was
a lot of styles anyway. So
yeah, and on the first Miracle of Sound album, there was a lot of kind of novelty songs, like joke songs, like Commander Shepard. But I've kind of moved away from that now because I want to make music that I want to listen to myself and that I can enjoy. And I don't enjoy those kind of songs as much as I enjoy writing more serious, kind of thoughtful ones,
Yeah.
Unless it's about doom, in which case, you're not really going to be writing something contemplative there. The message in it was like violence, gore, guts, blood. Yay.
You know where you're headed now.
Yeah.
So, what was interesting in the Great Unknown, apart from the song itself, is that at the end of the video you thank BioWare for, and I quote, reigniting your career 6 years ago. So, care to tell us a bit more about this?
Yeah, I have been making music for a very long time, more than like 16, 17 years. And I have been in bands long before Miracle of Sound. It was the cliche of my band almost made it and then fell apart. We got signed by a record label and did our album, and then the band fell apart. And when I started like doing my video game songs, it was like as kind of something for fun for me to cheer myself up. And then when Commander Shepard took off and BioWare really liked it and got behind it and started, showing it to their fans and tweeting it and all that good stuff, that's when my career started to pick up as Miracle of Sound. So, and it kind of snowballed from there.
I see.
Yeah, which is funny because like there's people who were around then who are still like, so Commander Shepard's your biggest song, right? And it's like, no, Commander Shepard is my 12th most popular song. There are lots more songs more popular than it, but it's the one I think massive fans are the most familiar with.
Yeah, I guess so. And what's fun is that I discovered your work, I think 2 years ago, not much more. And it was because a friend gifted me Don't Starve Together on Steam, and the gift message was a link to Commander Shepard by Sound. And so I listened to it, and I liked it, and I started to listen more.
Cool.
And I don't even know if well, I guess I know you know because a lot of people in the Mass Effect community know. your work. So one of
Yeah.
them would have sent me a link anyway, but it's really fun, especially because I remember you would often say, no, don't start with Commander Shepard, just pick
Yeah.
something else.
Yeah. The reason I say that is it's not because I hate the song. It's just I feel like I have much better songs
Yeah,
since then,
it's
and
different.
it's a fun song, but it doesn't represent what I do now so much. It doesn't represent anything I've done in the last 3-4 years,
Yeah.
But it's still fun. I still enjoy it sometimes. If I'm drunk enough, I can listen to it.
Or if Mark Neo reads it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, well that was cool. That was
Yeah.
cool.
So, still on music, what did you think of the musical ambience of Mass Effect Andromeda in itself or compared to the trilogy?
I think, look at it this way, for what I presume EA wanted it to be, I think it did a good job of that. Personally, I would have liked to have had Sam Hulick back. Like, Sam is a friend of mine, and I adore the music he made for the first trilogy. And I would have loved to have seen him get the job, and I hope he gets the job for the next one, because there was not, as the music in the new game, as sparse as it was, it did a good job of creating a certain atmosphere. But for me, that atmosphere didn't quite feel like the one that I know and love for Mass Effect. And maybe that was the point. Maybe that's what EA wanted. But personally, I would go, if I had my way, if I was picking the music for the next game, I would go back to Sam and Jack Wall.
Yeah. I think we'll never forget some of their tracks.
Oh, never. The Suicide Mission.
Yeah.
I've listened to that piece so many hundreds of times.
So
in fact, that was such a huge part of what made that ending to Mass Effect 2 so epic, was the music.
Yeah. You don't get to hear something like that every so often.
Yeah. Magic.
So, are you eager to see more of Mass Effect Andromeda, like a new Andromeda focused game, or some DLCs for Mass Effect Andromeda? And what would you like to see in them too?
Okay, so you know what I'd like to see from Mass Effect, and this is not a popular opinion. I want to see a game where they pick one of the 3 endings as canon and just move on and give us more with the Citadel and more with the species there. That was what I really wanted from this.
That's also my opinion.
Yeah. Oh yeah? Well, cool, because not many people agree with me on that one.
Yeah. Well, I believe that canon endings tend to scare people, especially because it means ignoring a choice for some players, and I believe some can cope with it. But sometimes it's a good idea, like it was the case for Deus Ex Human Revolution, it was the case for Dishonored also, and it worked out great.
Yeah, exactly. And it was the case for, well, actually, no, I didn't like how they did it in Human Revolution. I really don't like at the end of a game when they give you 3 different choices. I hate it. For me, a story doesn't have an ending unless it has an actual ending. And that's not something that everyone shares my view on. I'm aware of that. But I like stories to have one ending. And I liked how Mass Effect 1 and 2 did it, because those games both had one ending, but they had slight variables depending on how you played, you know? I'm trying to think, is there another game that did it really well, actually? And I'm struggling to think of one, but I know there was one. It'll come to me later. But as for Andromeda, I would like to see another one. Yeah, I want to see what happens next.
Okay, and can we expect more songs about Mass Effect Andromeda in the future?
I don't have any immediate plans, but I never say never.
Yeah, I remember this. I remember. So, okay, now we are going into more casual questions. ones, the fans we like,
Cool.
and then we will be done. So, from a Mass Effect fan to another, who was your favorite character, race, romance, whatever?
In Andromeda or in the
Likewise,
series?
yeah, let's say the whole series.
Ooh, that is difficult.
But if you wish to say to separate things between the
Yeah.
trilogy and Andromeda, just do it.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that. In Andromeda, definitely Drac was my favorite character.
Oh,
Yeah, like by far. Honestly, I was really not a fan of Liam or Gil, or really Cora didn't do much for me either. I quite liked Peebee. I know a lot of people don't like her because she's kind of the manic pixie dream girl type character, but I liked her. Apart from that part where she sent me out in a fucking escape shuttle, I was so angry with her at that point. But yeah, I'm trying to think of other characters in Andromeda that were really memorable, and there just weren't that many, compared to the first series. I liked Vetra. I thought Vetra was cool, but she again was kind of another Garrus,
Yeah.
She was cool in the same ways that Garrus was cool. In the original trilogy, I mean, I loved all the characters between like Tally and Rex, Garrus. They were all great characters. The only two that I found a bit boring was Kaiden and Ashley, and I think everyone found those two a bit boring.
I think we've found someone that doesn't dislike Jacob Taylor. It's
Jacob was all right. He was a little bit dull, but I didn't hate him.
Yeah, my point is that usually nobody cares about him, basically.
Yeah. Well, I forgot he existed when I was listing off characters. So. my Commander Shepard romanced Miranda. But my Ryder didn't have any real romances, but she did have a fling with Peebee.
Okay.
Yeah. So does that answer the question? I mean, Mass Effect, the original trilogy, had so many incredible characters that it's hard to even. I mean, Legion as well was fantastic. The first time I met Legion, I was just, this is so cool. And Harbinger and Sovereign were both really great characters. So, yeah, so many.
Yeah, we all have, we all like a lot of characters in the trilogy, because 3 games, that's a lot. I mean, even some side characters, not very important, like Commander Bailey and the Citadel.
Yeah.
We realize we like them a lot sometimes.
I'm Conrad.
And Conrad, of course.
The true hero of the Mass Effect series.
Did you meet his sister in Andromeda?
Yeah, I did. That was a nice touch. Reyes was kind of fun as well. But Reyes didn't accompany you in an awesome bar fight, so, Drac wins.
Have you ever tried multiplayer in Mass Effect?
I'm really not interested in multiplayer at all. I didn't even try it in Andromeda. I think I played it for about an hour in Mass Effect 3 and never played it again.
Yeah,
and that's not to say that they're bad. It's just, for me, multiplayer games are infuriating, and I don't, I play video games to get away from other people. I see other people a lot in real life, and video games is my time for myself, my escaping, my time to escape from all of that, so I prefer to be solitary when I'm playing video games.
Well, I've played Mass Effect 3 multiplayer a lot, and it can definitely be quite infuriating sometimes. So yeah. I guess you spared yourself quite a lot of trouble, even if it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to multiplayer, I got addicted to Call of Duty for like a year,
Mm-hmm.
and that destroyed multiplayer games for me forever. You know. But like these days, I don't even want to play that game. Gaming for me is a time to be alone and at peace with my own thoughts and my own escapism. And I'm not interested in multiplayer stuff at all. It's too chaotic. It's too noisy. It's got too many other people.
Yeah, sometimes you just wish to be alone, quiet.
Yeah, real life has enough people in it.
Okay, well, I guess that was the last. Thank you very much for giving this time.
No problem.
Gavin. And well, the rest word is yours.
So thank you very much to my French fans and followers for all the support through the years. If you're Mass Effect fans, I would imagine a lot of you have been here pretty much from the beginning. So thank you for that. And yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? Thanks for doing the interview with me. I was happy to do it.